The retirement rumors of Kevin Harvick continue to swirl over the NASCAR world. Regarding this, Kevin has discussed his questionable future in the NASCAR Cup Series. So what he has to say? And what is the other news in the NASCAR world? Hello Nascarians, welcome back to NASCAR Zone. Let's get to know about these speculations. But before we begin, do subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Before we really talk about Harvick's pension topic, I want to tell you something else quickly. First, let's start with Rajah Caruth. On Tuesday, GNS Racing made a big move by giving rising NASCAR star Rajah Caruth a full-time spot in the Truck Series. Caruth has moved up the racing ranks very quickly. Fans and drivers alike have a lot of respect for him as a prospect from the iRacing circuits. Rajah Caruth is now joining a team that is making a lot of progress. The Petty GMS Racing team in the Cup Series is part of the same group as GNS Racing. So the young driver will be able to talk to and get advice from Jimmy Johnson. Not to mention all the other great people who work with that Truck Series team. Caruth will go to work for GMS in the number 24 truck. He will also stay with the Chevy family, where he has been growing for the past couple of years. The Wendell Scott Foundation will help pay for the truck, and the truck itself looks really cool. He will race in the 23 with Grant Enfinger and the 43 with Daniel Dye. The Truck Series is full of things that move and change. It's a new time. After years away from the sport, Kratzman is back as the series sponsor. Now let's get back to our topic, Kevin Harvick on his retirement. Kevin Harvick has been one of the biggest stories of the NASCAR offseason after the driver reportedly told Stewart-Haas Racing that he plans to retire at the end of the 2023 season. Even though nothing official has been said from Harvick's side of the equation, this would be the big theme of the 2023 season. Harvick is still one of the most successful active drivers, and Kyle Busch, who drives for Richard Childress Racing, is the other. In October, Gene Haas stated that Harvick had indicated that he did not expect to drive after the conclusion of the 2023 season, which is when his current contract will expire. According to Haas, Stewart-Haas Racing would like for Harvick to sign a contract to remain with the racing organization that is co-owned by Tony Stewart. The one and only Cup Championship that Harvick has won came in his first season with the club. He began his career in the Cup with Richard Childress Racing and remained there for the first 13 years of his career. The upcoming season will be his 10th with SHR. Harvick will turn 47 years old the following week and has won a total of 60 NASCAR Cup races throughout his career. Among his victories are the Daytona 500, Coca-Cola 600, Brickyard 400, and Southern 500. At the beginning of this year, Harvick ended a winless streak that had lasted 65 races at Michigan. This was the second longest winless streak of his career. Harvick, who has a son named Keelan, who is 10 years old, is very committed to the early stages of Keelan's future as a race car driver. He has broadened his interests over the past decade to develop a successful management company. NASCAR's second-tier competition is where Harvick won his first two titles, in 2001 and 2006. Harvick only intended to compete for the Xfinity Championship in 2001, but Dale Earnhardt's passing in the season-opening Daytona 500 accident caused RCR to switch Harvick into Earnhardt's ride. He went on to win the Xfinity Championship that year. During his turbulent rookie year, Harvick raced in both the Cup and the Xfinity Series and ended up winning the championship in both of them. He won twice in Cup and 5 times in Xfinity. His career totals include 47 victories in the Xfinity Series and 14 triumphs in the Truck Series. The driver has won more than 100 races in his career, including 60 in the NASCAR Cup Series. He also has 2 championships to his name. Harvick's decision to retire would be a devastating blow to the sport, given he was the driver that succeeded Dale Earnhardt Sr. when the latter was slain in the 2001 Daytona 500. It's impossible to blame him either. Everyone in the Cup Series experiences the suffocating schedule that comes with being a full-time driver. In addition, Harvick's son Keelan is maturing and preparing for a future racing career. A driver of Harvick's caliber should be allowed to compete in one final season. This has happened to racers like Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the past. With hope, Harvick and the number 14 will be able to capitalize on this position. It's understandable why they'd want to keep it unofficial for the length of the season if that's what they decide. When NASCAR held Champions Week at Nashville, Tennessee, this subject was also discussed throughout that weekend. When Harvick was confronted with the circumstance, he engaged in conversation about it and provided an intriguing reaction. The majority of Harvick's accomplishments, including the NASCAR Cup Series championship in 2014, have occurred during his time with Stewart-Haas Racing. The driver has, without a shadow of a doubt, been the most successful driver in the history of the organization, which makes it comprehensible why it will be lobbying for him to sign a new contract extension. Jordan Bianchi of The Athletic had the opportunity to speak with Kevin Harvick about his plans for the future, including whether or not he intends to continue racing with the number 4 car after the 2024 season. Right now, he has a feeling that he'll know the answer to that question before we get to Daytona. He doesn't have an answer to that question that is crystal obvious right now, because there are just a lot of layers to unfold and go through and evaluate. He is not going to start the season without knowing that direction, just because there are a lot of moving parts to consider. And so we'll see. He also believes that it is still possible for things to go either way at this specific point. It is essential to keep in mind that conversations held in private settings are not the same as those held in public settings. What are your thoughts? Is Kevin Harvick's decision right? Tell us in the comments below, and do subscribe to our channel for more updates. Harvick did not appear to take a stance on the issue, and instead provided statements that were open to several interpretations. Nevertheless, it would appear that a response will be provided to the matter before the Daytona 500 in 2023. Expect the 2023 Cup Series season to be an emotional one if the plans reportedly held by the winner of the Cup Series in 2014 do not change. Harvick is one of the most successful drivers in the history of NASCAR, and he will undoubtedly be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Some additional drivers are thinking about calling it quits after the 2023 season. Among them is a man named Denny Hamlin. Although it could come as a surprise to hear Hamlin's name, it would make sense for him to call it quits after 2023 if he wins the championship. It is also important to note that his current contract with FedEx will expire at the end of the upcoming season. Based on his statements, it would not be unexpected for him to retire after claiming the championship. The 42-year-old star also does not want to place himself in a position where he cannot win every week. Since nearly 20 years ago, Harvick, Truex, Hamlin, Crafton, and Sauter have been mainstays on the NASCAR driver roster. It would be a major historical event if even one of them decided to retire, and it seems likely that we will see at least one of them retire within the next year. It would unquestionably be a defining moment in human history. Overall, Harvick is now tied with Kyle Busch for 9th place on the list of NASCAR drivers with the most wins in the Cup Series. In the history of NASCAR, only 9 other drivers have reached this point in the Cup Series. He will reach this point in only 10 more starts. But Harvick's possible retirement is a very important story that you should put at the top of your list of things to watch in 2023. What are your thoughts regarding this? Let us know in the comments below. That's all for today. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you liked today's video, then do check out more videos like this on our channel, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more of our videos on NASCAR updates. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.